I asked FPL experts to name me one player you should be looking to buy in Game Week 2. And the first expert that I did consult 4 players to buy for Game Week 2 was FPL Roo. If you want to go and check out his channel or any of the experts in today's video, all the link to their stuff will be in the description. And if you're an FPL content creator or expert yourself and you want to get involved in future videos, go follow me on Twitter, and next time I put out a tweet asking for experts' opinions, then just simply reply to that and you have the potential chance to be included in next Game Week's video. FPL Roo has recommended that you go for James Maddison, and this gets the FPL Tom seal of approval. He had a fantastic performance against Brentford, providing 2 assists, picking up 9 points, and is expected to pick up 12 points between Game Week 2 and Game Week 4. Yes, the Game Week 2 fixture isn't ideal. I think if you haven't potentially got the money, or maybe you want to see how it goes, I completely understand that, as Manchester United at home isn't the easiest of fixtures, but after that, Spurs have an incredible run, not just the fixtures that you can see on screen, but after that as well, have some really good fixtures. He seems to be the key man, I think, is going to be this year for Spurs. Obviously as well on a lot of set pieces, on corners. We still don't know who the key penalty taker is going to be for Spurs at the moment, as they didn't get one on Sunday, so potentially could still throw his hat into that ring, but he just looked a cut above the mustard, to be honest, ladies and gentlemen. He looked a fine asset, if I must say so myself. So I 100% agree with FPL Roo's suggestion of going Maddison, still while he's at 7.5 million, before these good fixtures as well, and at only 11.7% owned. You could get yourself a cheeky little differential here, ladies and gentlemen, who could massively boost your rank. And our next expert, ASHMIT, I hope I'm pronouncing that correctly. If I haven't, I do apologise. He has recommended that you do go for Ben Chilwell. Now again, this is another one that is going to get the FPL Tom seal of approval. My God, was this man fantastic on Sunday again. Had a goal disallowed as well. He could have been absolutely killing it. Massive haul potential from him this season. I'm going to put up on screen right now a heat map from the Liverpool game. If you could just see the positions that this man was getting into, oh my days, it was unreal, ladies and gentlemen. Watching the game, he massively passed the eye test. He was basically playing the game as a left winger for most of it. Never mind as a defender that we can get in our teams for 5.5 million. He is going to get so many attacking returns this year if he can keep himself fit. And on top of that, potentially getting clean sheet points, which would honestly leave him cleaning up for bonus and honestly hauling nearly every single week. Chelsea's fixtures as well now. They've got that Liverpool game out of the way. They are stellar, especially that Game Week 3 fixture and Game Week 4 arguably as well. 2 home fixtures, back-to-back home fixtures, are absolutely incredible for Ben Chilwell. He is a player that I do have in my own team. It does look like his price is going to rise tonight. This is currently being filmed on Monday, so it does look like his price is going to rise tonight, so potentially get him in ASAP before he goes up to that 5.6 million, if it already hasn't happened, because if he keeps playing the way he does and getting into the positions that he does, this man is going to be essential in FPL. I know that's a big claim, but I'm just putting it out there, to be honest, ladies and gentlemen, because he looked incredible. Getting in those positions, it's honestly haul potential. So much haul potential in this man. The positions, the attacking intent, the way Chelsea set up as well was fully pretty much to go for Ben Chilwell. Find him in space, let him attack the ball. It was brilliant to watch, especially from an FPL perspective. Predicted 14.9 points. I'm expecting him to go massively past that. I can see him getting a goal in at least one of these games and an assist as well. If he can top that with a clean sheet point, he is going to be hauling, like I said, ladies and gentlemen. So this one gets the FPL Tom seal of approval as well. Our next expert, Somerset _FPL, has recommended a cheeky little differential here, ladies and gentlemen. He has gone for Nketiah, obviously started up front for Arsenal, which a lot of people didn't expect. A lot of people kind of thought Kai Havertz. There was a few kind of brave, ballsy men that did go for Nketiah and were rewarded with a goal against Nottingham Forest. It does look like he is going to be the key forward for them this season while Gabby Jesus is out, especially after scoring. You imagine he's probably going to start the next two. Indeed, at 5.5 million, I think he represents a great opportunity for people who've potentially got a little bit of money in the bank, or in upcoming game weeks once João Pedro's fixtures kind of phase out. You potentially could look to move to this man if he is still playing up front, and if, you know, Gabby Jesus isn't back from injury, then you do expect this man to still be getting game time. The only concern for me is that low XG. As you can see there, 0.13, scored a goal. We're going to come on to some players a little bit later, that absolutely destroyed XG and didn't come away with any points. So that is a little bit of a concern for me. Obviously with this one as well, it is a little bit of a short-term kind of punty differential, but I think with most people rolling, and if you've got the money or if you've got a slot open, I do kind of like this. I've been toying with the idea myself to potentially go for Nketiah, maybe upgrade my 4.5 million forward and fully attack game week 2. But Crystal Palace are a very good defensive side. They currently have the best XG conceded since game week 29. So that was when Roy Hodgson was appointed. So yeah, I don't think it's going to be an easy task for Arsenal on a Monday night as well. That's always usually kind of like a little bit of a tricky fixture, where usually Palace, they just like a Monday night. You know, it just honks of a little bit of a Monday night ball from old Crystal Palace, to be honest. But I like it as a pick. It's not going to get the seal of approval. It is something that I've kind of been toying with myself at the moment. But I just think it's a little bit too short-term kind of punty option. I think if you've got that kind of room in the locker, if the rest of your team is set up and you want to go for this kind of short-term option, I think it's a good idea. But I think there are other key transfers like Ben Chilwell that would be higher up on my priority list. Moving on to our next expert selection, and it is Golden Goal Fantasy Football. He has recommended that you go for Diaby. Again, another player who absolutely killed it in game week 1. As you can see there, scored 7 points, scoring a goal, good XA and good XG. You know, another player that's going to get the FPL Tom seal of approval because he looked fantastic. Still super low owned at only 6.9%, 6.5 million as well. If you're feeling, I want one of these 6.5 million midfielders, he's probably the best one to go for, especially with the next two fixtures in mind. Everton at home and Burnley away. Cracking fixtures for Aston Villa. Liverpool away in game week 4, not the easiest, but you know, if you've got the bench to cover it, maybe rotate him in and out. So I definitely like this pick because he, again, like I said, another player that massively passed the eye test, putting up good underlying data as well. The fixtures for the next two are definitely good. My only concern with potentially going for Villa assets is they do have Europa League Conference League, is it they're in? Europa Conference League they're in this season. They do have qualifiers in between game week 2 and game week 4, so you know, you might see a little bit of rotation. I think the team is going to probably stay pretty much the same as they are playing Hibernian, so you do imagine that it'll be a little bit like rotatory kind of around that team, but you might see players like Diaby, Watkins come off a little bit earlier for the Everton game or the Burnley game. So that's something that, you know, we don't really want. You know, these European fixtures, they do hamper, they do kind of impact kind of fatigue and fitness and stuff like that. And with Villa picking up a lot of injuries already early in the season, potentially we could see a little bit of rotation with Diaby, but I do think he is a fantastic option to go for, and I completely understand why you would go for him. I'm just putting kind of a little bit of air of caution out there that he might see reduced minutes down to Europa Conference League qualifying, but still, it's getting the FPL Tom seal of approval. Let's move on to our next expert's pick. Moving swiftly on, our next expert, not so template FPL, has recommended Jackson from Chelsea, and you know what, I'm going to put it straight out there, this one gets the FPL Tom seal of approval. I've been putting a plan in place to get this man into my team for game week 3 to replace João Pedro, because that Luton at home and Nottingham Forest at home fixtures are delightful, ladies and gentlemen. Now I know what you're thinking, he didn't score. Only 1 point in game week 1 as he picked up a yellow card, but look at that XG, ladies and gentlemen. He was a player that massively passed the eye test for me, getting plenty of opportunities. There aren't too many competition kind of up for places, up for grabs in terms of that Chelsea side as well. So you imagine he's going to be nailed. No European football for Chelsea as well at 7 million. So if maybe you're on a Watkins and you want to move him off for that Liverpool fixture, that makes perfect sense. But if you've got that option to potentially go for him in game week 2, I think he is a fantastic option to go for. Chelsea look very attacking during that Liverpool game, and Jackson is going to score plenty of goals this season if he can keep up the solid performances that he showed in game week 1. Like I said, that XG was the top among strikers, beating the likes of Haaland, beating the likes of João Pedro, who obviously got a penalty. So, you know, putting him up here, you know, it's kind of one of those where a lot of people kind of look at points and they see, oh, well, he only got 1 point, he didn't score. That's not the way to play FPL. You've got to kind of look for these secret hidden players that are going to absolutely explode in the next few weeks. That's how you get your big rank boost, sorry. And I think Jackson is going to be one of these players. Only at 15.7% owned. Good XG, good fixtures coming up, and fairly nailed in the side. I really like Jackson as a pick for game week 2. And our final experts pick of today's video comes from Dread FPL, and he has recommended that you go for Mohamed Salah. Now, for me personally, I think I would only go for Salah if I had KDB in game week 1, which I was surprised to see how highly owned that man was, because from an FPL perspective, he is a huge rotation risk and someone that I don't usually go for unless it's a double game week or I'm going to captain him. So I definitely think if you've got KDB, the switch to Salah, if you've got the money in the bank, does make perfect sense. But I think if you're going to rip apart your team just to get Salah in, I don't think it quite makes sense, especially with the fixtures coming up. Yes, that game week 2 fixture, Bournemouth at home, is going to be delightful. A lot of people who own him are going to be going for the captaincy, me included in that kind of bracket. To be honest, I have Salah. I'm going to be captaining him in game week 2 as well, because it's just a great fixture. He looked really good. Obviously, this underlying data here doesn't include the disallowed goal. He put a scintillating ball through as well for Diaz to score the opening goal of the game. I do think he looks very good. That Liverpool attack is looking very ferocious as well, and you imagine against these weaker teams that Liverpool are going to do extremely well. But I wouldn't be recommending kind of dismantling your team just to go and get Mohamed Salah in for game week 2. Game week 3, Newcastle away isn't easy. Then Villa at home in game week 4. They do have European football kind of after this fixture, so maybe it offers a little bit of an opportunity for Liverpool to go and win. It is a home fixture as well, and Liverpool do have a good record at Anfield, but Villa have smashed them 7-2 there before, so it swings and roundabouts, to be honest. I just don't think it's worth going to grab him for one game week to potentially captain him when Haaland was looking on fire, to be honest, ladies and gentlemen, and that man can score in any single game as well. So I think if you haven't got Salah and it requires you to go and rip apart your team, I wouldn't be recommended going and getting him in game week 2. But if you've got like a KDB or some money kicking about and it's an easy route into Salah, then I definitely would recommend going getting him and captaining him for game week 2. Those were our experts kind of picks and transfer selections for game week 2. Let me know what you think of them down in the comments section below. If you have any questions about your team as well, leave them in there and I will try and answer as many as possible. If you want to go and check out any of the experts that we included in today's video, all their links for all their content will be down in the description as well. But thank you very much for watching, ladies and gentlemen, and enjoy the rest of your day.